Well, you know the old saying, better late than never, and we are certainly late. I don't know if it's better, though. I don't know. What do you think, Scotty? Is it better that we're late than
I
never?
don't know if it's better either, but we're here. And, that music was just about the appropriate amount of funk for the day I've had. So
Really? Did you have a funky day?
It was a funky day.
Wow.
So
what made it so funky?
Well, I work at home, so I'm here all day working. I got kids all day. My wife has just started doing her business again, so she's gone half the day. So it's trying to do all the stuff. And look, I'm not squeamish about it. I'm a dad. I've been doing dad for years. But the whole day was just a weird day.
Well, you've been doing dad for years, Scotty, because you keep having children. I mean, it's all.
I know. What's with that? How does that happen?
It's good and all, but that's there's a cause and effect going on there.
Yes, and I did finally figure out though what makes that work. So
you do. You got that figured out.
I did. I took care of that little problem.
All right, good to know. Hey, everybody in the chat room. Good to see everybody jumping in here. We are, 10, 11 minutes late. Sorry about that. Every time you go to push these buttons and get things started, there's always a little bit of a technical hiccup somewhere along the way. And since this is only the second time Scotty and I have connected to do this program, we're still learning the ropes ourselves. But
right.
But we're here and we're ready to have a good time tonight because Booze, Brews, and Bros is all about viewing the paranormal through beer goggles, and that's what we intend to do tonight.
Damn straight, damn Skippy.
They're still talking about you last time, Scotty. You pounded those Guinnesses last time.
Well, that was just me and my burgeoning old age trying to remind myself of my misbegotten youth, and it worked.
Well, you did a darn good job.
Yeah, it's, and the funny thing is, I always say, I can do exactly what I did 25, 30 years ago, except nowadays it just hurts more. Well, and so I was surprisingly well fit on Saturday morning. So maybe there's some kind of deep latent tolerance. What was that sound?
Oh, did you just open a beer?
I did.
I'm going to have to actually switch the camera view to you and let you do a bit of a monologue because I forgot to set myself up with a beer and I need to go get one. So this is all you for the moment, and I'm going to go grab a beer.
All right. Well, folks, here I am. I'm with my Guinness, and for some reason it just I didn't shake it or anything, but it's acting as if I did. So let's, I may not get the perfect cascade this time because it acted a little funny. Let's just see what we get here. Yeah. We got a little bit of one going. So I lost a couple of swallows in there somewhere, but right there you go. I lift my cascading Guinness to you. And so that's got to sit for a couple of minutes before we drink that. And of course, Guinness, you got to drink at room temperature.
That's right. That's right. And people are often think, it's not cold. Well, that's not supposed to be cold.
That's right.
Last week we did this show. Scotty, you had an investigation going on. We had
I did.
Britt Griffith jumped into your shoes for the show.
I happened to see him. While we were at the investigation, I tuned in for about a minute, just jumped in the chat room and said, hey, and I saw Britt was there. So it was good to see his face. I haven't talked to him in 10 years.
It's funny. I hadn't either. It probably, 6 or 7 years anyway for me. And, I was just thinking, who can I get to fill in for Scotty tonight? And Britt popped into my head. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to contact Britt. And I actually tried to get him.
And he was available.
And he was, which was great. I was actually trying to get him to join us again tonight, but he must be occupied doing something because I did it last minute. Sorry about that, Britt. Anyway, so we're going to talk about a bunch of different things tonight. We've got no specific agenda. We're approaching Christmas, which I can't believe. Less than a week away from Christmas. It was just, I feel like, I don't know if you just like woke me up and said, hey, JV, what's the date or what's the day? I'd say it's, I don't know, October 10th. I don't know. But I don't feel like, I just don't feel like we're at the end of the year. We shouldn't be here already. I mean, 2019 was a blink of an eye.
I know. And, I've got my kids, of course, every day to remind me, how many days till Christmas, Dad?
Yeah, right.
And Well, how many was it yesterday? Well, it's one less. So, that becomes the standard answer. But yeah, I know what you mean. We're going 2020. That's, when I was a kid, you remember all the Saturday morning cartoons we watched?
Of course, yeah.
I think, you're a little bit younger than me, but I remember when Scooby-Doo premiered. It was like back in 72 or 73.
I thought Scooby-Doo actually premiered in the late 60s.
Maybe it was. I'm trying to think. I was 9 or 10 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, they had all these different cartoons that were either plays off of like Johnny Quest or something like that. The Hanna-Barbera fare for Saturday mornings. And they had one called C-Lab 2020. And it was about an underwater science lab and all the adventures and all that. But I just happen to remember 2020 sticks in my mind because of that.
Yeah.
And there was a guy in there. It was a family that did the underwater Swiss Family Robinson thing underwater or whatever it was. And he was a guy that kind of looked like, remember Race Bannon from Johnny Quest? He had the white hair, but they always gave him little crow's feet to show that he was older. And he was the grandpa to the family. And he was this cool, old deep sea diver and stuff like that. And he was 60 years old. And it was 2020 was the year it was supposed to be taking place. And I thought, wow, boy, I'm going to be 60 years old in 2020. I said, that should be awfully interesting. I wonder, and it seemed like forever away.
Yep.
When I was a kid, but now that memory is vivid in my mind.
Well, I'm still trying to get over, having watched a TV series called Space 1999.
Yes.
And then having 1999 roll by. And not only did we not party like it was 1999, but there was nobody out in space doing all those crazy things.
We had no space stations on the moon in 1999.
We did not.
Especially the kind of complex they had. It wasn't little tubes set up on the moon, like you see in, science documentaries. It was this vast city like expanse, and then the moon blows up or something and gets thrown out of the orbit.
I don't remember that series running for a whole long time.
I think it went I want to say 2 seasons.
Is that all it was?
Yep. And I just saw something about that. But what's interesting is the actors in that. Martin Landau.
Landau was in that?
Yeah, he was the lead role. Commander
I didn't realize
Koenig or Koenig. And he died just recently. Well, maybe not as recently as I remember. It might have been a few years ago, but
it seems like. Are you sure he died? I think he did.
Yeah, he passed away. His big thing was he got the Oscar for playing
Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, I love that movie. That movie's called
fantastic.
Ed Wood. It's a Tim Burton film. Johnny Depp. Yep, Johnny Depp plays the title role, and Bela Lugosi Martin Landau plays Bela Lugosi in the film. It's a great film.
He did a fantastic job. I watched that movie just to see him do that. He was like, "Was it you that was telling me about Fast Focus or something?" The
Autofocus.
Greg Kinnear Autofocus.
Yeah, Autofocus. We were talking about.
It had that quality. I watched it because I wanted to see him playing Bela Lugosi, and it was really amazing.
It's one of my go-to films. So since we're on the topic of films and TV shows, we just kind of stumbled into that particular conversation. One of the things that I had made a note of that we should talk about tonight are Christmas specials that you remember from your childhood that aren't not the ones necessarily that still show up every year, but there are a bunch that I know that I used to watch that just don't show up anymore. Or remember the variety shows like, the Sonny and Cher Christmas show or the Brady Bunch Christmas special.
Yep.
Or they used to do that every year. Tony Orlando and Dawn Christmas extravaganza.
Yes.
Remember those?
I remember them vividly.
Yeah. So let's chat a little bit about those because one of the features, I don't even know what to call it, that I used to watch around Christmas time every year, and I looked forward to it, was it was either an hour program or maybe even a half hour, and it was called The Littlest Angel. Do you remember that?
I do. Wasn't that the one with the kid from, he was the fuzzy redheaded kid from Family Affair? That's exactly what it was. Brian Keith played the leader. Big film star played the lead role in that in television.
Yes, that's right.
The widowed dad.
Well, the funny thing is I came across that particular show on a compilation CD with a bunch of Christmas specials. And I started watching it to kind of remember what it was. And it looks like it was shot to videotape back in like 1970, probably the early days of videotape. It has that videotape quality. The sets are nickel and dime sets, and it really wasn't anything special. But the story was about this boy played by that character or that actor that you mentioned, who he fell off a cliff or something and died.
I don't remember all the details of the story, but yeah, he died and
became an angel.
And
I don't remember all of it. He goes up into heaven and he's walking around trying to figure out where he is and what he's supposed to do. And all the grown-up angels are giving him guidance and stuff. And I think he ends up coming back, doesn't he?
He does. There's something to that. All I remember was even at like 8 or 9 years old, I looked at that and I said, so theologically unsound.
I didn't look at it that.
You don't turn into an angel.
Yeah.
Angel. We don't become angels.
I didn't take that cerebral of a view of it. I remember it used to come on. They always play it right before like Rudolph or one of those deals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's too funny. But what are some other ones? Remember, did you watch the Star Wars holiday special?
The Ewok one.
No, not the
Wasn't
Ewok
it the
one.
Ewok Christmas?
No, this was the like right after the original Star Wars.
Oh, yes.
In 1977.
Way back, I saw that.
Yeah. I mean, it's considered to be one of the lowest points of television ever. It was so bad.
I think it's still considered to be that.
Yeah, I think it is. And if you can get a copy of it or you can find it somewhere, it's quite a treat because it's so bad it's good kind of thing.
Be nice to see that tucked into the Skywalker saga, Star Wars 1 through 6 or 1 through 9. And as a bonus, the Star Wars Christmas special.
Yeah, I think George Lucas wanted that thing buried along with, what were all those Atari
Howard
games?
the Duck.
The E.T., remember the E.T. Atari game that was such a bomb?
Yes.
That they ended up burying like 50,000 of those cartridges out in the desert somewhere?
Yes. Hopefully never to be found.
Yeah, that was bad stuff. So what's everybody ever doing in chat? I just want to make sure that you know that we're reading your comments here, both in Facebook and in YouTube. And if you want to join this conversation, there's a couple ways to do it. Either you write what you want to say in chat, or you can give us a call. We will take unscreened phone calls at 607-282-4497, 607-282-4497.
There's nothing like being unscreened when you call in.
That's right. You can catch us off guard. You can do anything you want. We have no power to stop you.
I remember we were just driving around this afternoon, and the very typical, my wife, because the kids are in the car and everybody wants to listen to their music and they want their music. My wife says, shut up, all of you. We're listening to Christmas music. And she throws on Christmas music. And of course, you hear all the Johnny Mathis Christmas music, and you hear all of those. And then you hear the one comes on, and it's the a Schroeder from Peanuts.
Oh yeah.
The dun 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 dun. And my wife goes, I hate this piece of music.
What?
And she's a little bit younger than I am, and so she didn't grow up with that stuff other than in the periphery. And I said, that's Schroeder playing the nondescript Christmas song. And she's like, I don't like that. And I started looking it up. That came out 56 years ago.
Wow.
You believe that?
That's crazy.
The age and the date on those. It's like all of those claymation specials, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. 1965 or 66.
That's right.
That thing came out.
Yeah.
What was the one with, this dates it, Fred Astaire doing the voice of the postman?
That was Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Yeah.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Hey, Scotty, we have our first phone call. Let's jump to the unscreened. Let's go right to the unscreened phone lines. Who is with us here? Uh-oh. Whoever it was just hung up, I think.
Oh, got lost nerve.
They kind of lost the point of the unscreenedness of that call.
Yeah. Hi, you're on air. Oops.
Yeah. I'll keep watching. Hey, Scooter, welcome to the chat room. Good to see you in there. Those claymation specials, which, by the way, are timeless. Those are lightning in a bottle for sure.
Definitely. Burl Ives doing, you hear let me ask you,
Yeah.
Did you ever hear Burl Ives ever do any other songs on an album other than his Christmas album?
No.
Me either.
Nope.
I was thinking that. We were walking around the store and we could hear Burl Ives go, silver and gold.
All right, let's go back.
Like,
let's go back to the phone line. All right, unscreened. Who do we have here? And we get another. So somebody's just messing with us because it's unscreened. So they could do that all night long if they really wanted to. It seems like they'd have something better to do than that. But
Durwood, I would like to know in the chat room,
right,
what's being booty-faced for Christmas?
Who's there?
Yes, is there a pizza to be made?
A pizza?
Pizza. Who guys have pizza?
I wish there was a pizza. I wish there was a pizza. No,
little stuffed crust.
Oh yeah, no. I think a pizza would be the perfect thing right now. What kind of toppings do you like on your pizza?
Let's see. Well, me, there's a pizza I like to get. It's barbecue chicken and it's sort of like a Hawaiian pizza. Barbecue chicken,
sure,
pineapple,
yeah,
and then dip it in ranch dressing. That's my kind of pizza.
Wow.
We didn't call that Hawaiian up here. We called that cowboy pizza.
You call that cowboy pizza up there in Minneapolis?
Barbecue chicken.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any such thing as a bad pizza. Hey, what's your name, by the way? Just first name's fine.
Oh, it's Brian.
Brian, where are you calling from?
I'm in NOLA, of course. You don't recognize my voice?
I don't recognize your voice. Should I? You're kind of like away from the phone a little bit or something.
I thought I fixed that problem.
Oh, is this Field?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
I swear I thought I fixed that problem.
It definitely sounds better. It definitely sounds better than it did the other night, for sure. But it's still a little bit funky. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Is this Field guy?
I'll have to break the phone again. I apologize. I swear.
Yeah, it's Field guy. It's Field guy.
I was just messing around. I was just calling with y'all, messing around, goofing around like usual.
That's what this is all about.
I know Field guy. How you doing, brother?
Greetings. Doing pretty good, Scotty. And
right on.
Gibby and everybody else in chat universe.
Cool. You having a drink with us tonight?
Well, I don't have anything to drink per se.
Okay,
I wish I did.
Drink it in spirit then?
Yeah, pretty much. I could drink in spirit.
That works. But
yeah, I'll jump off. I don't want to waste too much of y'all's time, so
all right, well,
I'm just trying to debate who's getting more drunker.
Well, we know who took the crown home last time.
Exactly. I think Scotty will win this time, hands down.
Oh, boy.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. If you want to call in and do just that, it's 607-282-4497. What were we talking about before we took the phone call?
Burl Ives. We left off with Burl Ives.
That's right. I mean, he and like even Bing Crosby, they have like the definition of a Christmas song voice, you know?
Yes, yeah. And you don't hear them anywhere else.
No, it's hard to even think about them singing other songs, even though they both did. They both actually had pretty active recording and music careers. But their Christmas music and the way they performed it is pretty much unmatched. I mean, I hear a lot of this pop Christmas stuff show up. It just, I don't know, it doesn't quite do the same thing for me as those old classics.
It doesn't for me. I get really tired of certain Christmas songs. Probably the old, the ones that were really big in the 70s, think of the Johnny Mathis, Barbra Streisand era of Christmas songs, and it's, I get tired of hearing those. It's like, oh, I hate that one. Oh, I hate that one. We just decorated the tree the other night. We had something playing on Netflix or YouTube or something with the fireplace on the screen, and the Christmas music. And we had to keep skipping. I skipped that one. Oh, I can't stand that one. You know what my very favorite Christmas song is, though?
What?
Beavis and Butthead doing the Nutcracker Suite.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Folks, go look that one up if you've never heard it.
Sandra in our Facebook comment said Bing Crosby and David Bowie sing The Little Drummer Boy. That was Little Drummer Boy and Peace on Earth. There was like a combination of songs, and they sang them like in a duet style over each other. That was really, really, really cool.
That's a pretty eclectic mix of singers right there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's a great song, Sandra. Thanks for reminding us of that one. favorite Christmas songs. You know, I don't know. I tell you what, I get chills. Certain Christmas songs kind of give me chills. Like, I don't know, they make me a little bit emotional. I'm gonna be honest.
Now, would you say that the songs that get to you? Now, this doesn't matter what your belief system is or anything like that. That's not what I'm going for. But do the more religious Christmas songs get to you, or is it the more family Christmas songs?
That's a great
the
question.
Totally secular type Christmas songs.
No, it's not.
Like for me,
it's not going to be like Jingle
Yeah.
Bells or anything like that. No, it's the religious ones, but it's the ones, you know, that about
Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas is probably one of my favorite ones. Judy Garland did that, and I think Nat King Cole did that one.
All right, let's jump to the phone line again. What's your favorite Christmas song, Mysterious Caller?
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
That is a great song. That is a fabulous
You know who
song.
sang that originally, right?
I don't know, but
yes,
I like
I do.
it when you and Jason do it every year.
Oh, that's funny. I'm going to have to play that. Yeah. Was that James Earl Jones or something?
James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
Just tonight or last night when we were decorating the tree, I said to my kids, I said, "Do you know whose voice that is? Who is that?" I said, "That's Darth Vader."
All right, hold
I'd
on.
like to hear.
Hold on.
I'd actually like to hear JD and Scotty do something together. I think that would be a trip.
Oh my God. Hold on one second. Don't go anywhere. You're on line. I'm just answering line number 2. You need to hold on for me. I'll be right back with you. We got multiple calls going on here and no call screener, so I have to do it live on the air. So just tell everybody to hold on. You want us to sing a song together? Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
First of all, who are we talking to?
On a night when you're drinking your beer.
Okay, if you're gonna goad us into singing a song together, we have to know who we're talking to.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Just give me a first name. I don't need to know any more than that.
It's
We don't need your
Teresa.
address or
Hi,
anything.
Scotty, it's Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Teresa.
How you doing?
Well, if we were to sing, what would we sing?
Oh, I don't know. It would have to be something kind of rocking, like rocking around the Christmas tree.
All right, I'll tell you what. If this show goes well enough, as we get into the second hour of the program, I will get a guitar, and Scotty and I will sing a song.
There it is.
Oh, that'd be super. Yeah, pick what you want, but that'd be cool.
Okay, is that going to work?
Yeah.
All right, it's a great suggestion, Teresa. I mean, may as well, right? We're drinking beers, we're hanging out,
yeah.
We're talking about all sorts of things.
Fellowship, guys, fellowship.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for the call, Teresa.
Right.
Nice to hear from you, Teresa.
Thank you. All right, line number 2. Who's here?
Scooter.
The Scooter is calling in. Hey, Scoots.
What's up?
We were just challenged for Scotty and I to sing a song.
I heard that.
You heard that. So we're taking suggestions right now, requests, and then at the end of the show, we'll do something.
Well, I have two
As
of my
we're
favorite
fading
Christmas
out.
songs, and then I have a Christmas story to tell you.
Okay. What are your favorite Christmas songs? And then let's hear the story.
Have yourself a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, man. That's
a good
it.
one. It's
that
a good one.
Song is the bomb.
And the one that gets me is if we all to be together, if the fates allow, because of members that have passed. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the emotional stuff I'm talking about. That really gets to me. What's the one they sing at the very end of "It's a Wonderful Life"? Is that "Hark the Herald"? Anybody
might
know?
Be, yeah.
Whatever that is,
I don't know.
Because of that film and that song at the end, I always, and I'm going to have to be honest here and bare my soul, I always tear up from that. Always.
And the other one is Sleigh. I love the sleigh ride, but I don't like the word version. I just like the instrumental version.
Leroy Anderson's instrumental version.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, my Christmas story is this. When I was a wee lad, we lived on a circle street, more like a horseshoe, but
it's kind of hard to go anywhere if your street's a circle. How do you get out?
Exactly. We went driving for hours.
You can't go to the store or anything. That's crazy.
So the parents, everybody on that street had younger kids in that time period, and so they hired a guy that lived in the neighborhood. He was a big fellow. He worked on the railroad. He was about 6'4", about 275, and he got a Santa suit, and all the parents that wanted to contribute to the rental of the suit, and then they gave him one toy to come around Christmas Eve and give to the kids, as Santa. Well, he started on the other side of the street, and everywhere he went, he was having a couple of pops. So by the time he got to our house, which was last, he's walking up the sidewalk, and he's doing the sideways, frontways walk. And I'm like 5 years old, and I'm like, hey, here comes Santa. I'm all excited because Santa's coming. My brother's about 13 at the time, and he sees this guy come up the sidewalk walking like that, and he starts laughing. And we had 2 steps up to our porch. He gets up on the porch. We had these wrought iron railings on each side of the porch, and he leans on the one side, and he falls over into the bushes and passes out.
Oh, my.
Nice.
Oh, my.
And I'm standing at the door going, what's wrong with Santa? My brother had to leave the room. He was laughing so hard.
Sounds
My
like
mom and dad go out and get Santa out of the bushes, bring him in the house, sit him on a chair, start giving him Christmas cookies and coffee. And he handed me my Tonka truck, and that's all I cared about. I could.
Oh, yeah.
I was oblivious to the rest of it. But,
Right.
Now, the following year, they decided to give him another chance. He stopped at a bar downtown and forgot to lock his car. Somebody spotted all these presents in the back seat and stole his car.
Oh, man.
And they found it up in Akron about a week later, totally stripped. And that was the end of hiring him to be Santa in the neighborhood. But
Wow.
I would guess.
Wow. I had a similar experience, although I don't think the Santa that used to come to my house, my parents' house, got that drunk. But I remember after one of those visits, he would come, he would, give all the kids presents, and he would leave. I remember the adults talking, not realizing I was around the corner, and I was probably 10, I don't know. And one of the adults said, how much do you have to pay him to do that? And my father said, you don't have to pay him anything. You just give him a bottle of whiskey and he's good.
Nice.
So it might have been the same guy. Who knows? Maybe he moved and came out my way because he got laughed out of Ohio. I don't know. Anyway, Scooter, thanks for sharing that story with us.
no problem.
My mom used to manage a little pub when I was a grade school kid. And they always had big parties at our house. And there was always the ever-present, I don't know what his name was anymore. Scooter's story reminded me of this. He would always show up in his Santa Claus suit, and he was always hammered. And, it was like, you'd see Santa, and he came to hang with the adults and get drinks, not to see kids. And so I don't know that he really wanted to be bothered with us, but I remember the little kids, we'd always go up and want to say hi to him. Hi, Santa. Hey. And he was half in the bag already. And I just remember the white fur was soiled and on the front too, just like rubbed up against the dirty car or something. And his beard always hung down. And so you could see the elastic, and so that's all I remember of Santa coming and visiting. I'm thinking of being Santa, by the way.
You think
to grow out my white beard again.
Yeah, I noticed that. You could give it a few months, and you could do it.
Yeah, you know who was the coolest looking Santa in the movies recently?
Who?
Kurt Russell.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that film.
You ever see that one last? It came out last year, I think.
Yeah, I haven't seen that film. Scooter, have you seen that one? I can't remember what it's called. It's like I don't know. It's on Netflix.
I think I have.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
It's not bad. I mean, it's a kids movie. But it was a good family fare with the kids last year. But Kurt Russell, just think of Kurt Russell. He played a pretty cool Santa.
He played Elvis at one point too. Hey, Scooter, I'm going to let you get off the phone there. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. Let's change the topic here. We can still talk about Christmas stuff, but let's talk about. I was going to talk about Krampus, but I'm going to change that a little bit. Let's talk about Christmas traditions. There are many that we all share. Like, the Santa Claus tradition is pretty well entrenched. The putting up a tree tradition is pretty well entrenched. But let's get beyond the ones that everybody does, and let's talk about maybe what your family does, or maybe what your heritage. Like, if I'm Italian, what the Italians do. That everybody might not do, or maybe if you're not Christian and you celebrate something else, maybe what you do, anything like that. Let's talk about some of these traditions that everybody seems to have a couple they call their own when it comes to holiday time.
What's your favorite tradition? Would you link that up with memories, good memories, or just things you did every year.
That's the thing. It's all about nostalgia. And, my sister posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago this picture of her and I standing in our living room when, I don't know, maybe I was 5 and she was 3, 6 and 4, something like that. And we're standing in front of a cardboard fireplace with fake logs that had a light bulb behind them, so they kind of glowed.
Yeah.
And this ceramic Santa sleigh on the quote unquote mantle. But again, it was a cardboard. But my parents had, they probably paid $2 for this thing, and they would haul it out of the attic every year, and they would set it up in the living room every year. We didn't have a fireplace in this living room, and they just sit it there. And that became a huge Christmas tradition for us. And when I saw the picture of it, it warmed my heart. It was this chintzy little cardboard folding fireplace thing that when I saw it, just gave me a flood of really wonderful memories.
For me, it seems that there were, did you have in your family key family members that made the Christmas tradition work in your family? And then, like in my family, once one of them was gone, then both of them were gone. It's like the traditions just fell apart.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I tried to pick it up. I'm a dad. I got kids who are 28 years old, and I got kids that are 5. And so I always wanted in my own head to say, my house is going to be the house where my kids come for Christmas. Because it's not just me being lazy and not wanting to drive somewhere. It's just being dad. I want to be the patriarch of the family that does the big spread at Christmas, and everybody comes to my place.
What I'm hearing you say right now, Scotty, is I'm hearing you say you want to be Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation.
Absolutely.
Well, hey,
I want to plug in my tree, my electronics.
First of all, that's a great movie. But secondly, any dad can kind of put themselves into his frame of mind and his desire to have an old-fashioned family Christmas for all the reasons you just said, Scotty. Because you did have a grandma and grandpa that used to really get excited to go to their house on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and there would be a certain food that grandma would make, and certain things would happen there, and you waited all year for that day. The gifts were important too, of course, but the tradition was as important, and
that's it.
That's part
Christmas
of it.
Is tradition. I think if you do it right, it becomes tradition for you. I'm going to confide in something. I got to look around, make sure my wife's not here. This is just between us. I don't like going to my wife's family at Christmas time. It's like grandma's got the little cottage on the lake, and we all go up there, and there's like 35 people crammed into, a 20 foot space. Everybody's standing in, and they all love each other. They all have fun, but it's not my family of origin.
Yeah.
And so it was different from the beginning, and I could have fun with them and stuff, but it's like, I gotta go. I gotta drive all the way up there to go stand in a room with 20 people.
Scotty, I know that you're not new to social media, but you do understand that these videos basically last forever, and this is what you just said is not going to be a secret for long.
Oh, damn it! Well, there goes that. My wife will say, "Hey, I want to go listen to your and Jim's show," and I'll say, "Nah, it wasn't very good."
Don't. No, it's a horrible show. Don't listen. First of all, I'm trying to read chat for some traditions. I'm not really seeing any. If you want to call and tell us, that's great too. 607-282-4497. These traditions, some of them are just within a family. Some are within, a given ancestral cultural background. Some are, it can some are a town. It can be, a certain town does certain things that you really look forward to. The town that I grew up in, it's called Oneonta in upstate New York, has had a department store, as many small cities did. The department store in Oneonta was Brews, and it went out of business, I don't know, in the late 80s, like all of those department stores did around the country.
Right.
but every year, first of all, Thursday nights was downtown night, and the stores would stay open until 9:00 at night on every Thursday night. So during the Christmas season, you'd go down shopping on Thursday nights. And one of the things we used to do is Brews, this department store, had all these windows filled with Christmas displays. And it was all those, robotic elves building toys and all that stuff. And it was a real treat back then to go see them. While Brews goes out of business, obviously those things were no longer being shown until this year. Somebody saved them all and
nice.
put them on display this year in Oneonta for people to go see again. And I have to tell you, despite the fact they're kind of hokey and a little bit cheesy, it was a real delight, real delight to see them again.
They did memories. That. There was a big department store here, Dayton's, in downtown Minneapolis. And that became, I think, a Macy's when they sold out. But Dayton's had, I remember from when I was a little kid, on the 8th floor, the 8th floor was the magic floor. And you go up to the 8th floor, and this is think of the old 1940s and 50s and 60s, the big old department stores that existed. And that's what Dayton's was in downtown Minneapolis. And they'd always have a big Christmas thing like that going on the 8th floor. And we always went up there when we were little kids, and they had Santa up there and the whole village with all the little animatronic guys. And, when you're 5 and 6 and 7, those kinds of things are absolutely fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, they're like, our kids are so tech savvy. Here's a good tech savvy story. You remember the little old ditty Grandma and Grandpa used to do? They go like this. They go, here's the church, and here's the steeple, and open the door, and here's all the people.
Yes.
My wife did that to my now my 5-year-old. It was a little while ago. She was 4 years old, tech savvy as all get out. And my wife goes, "Hey, look at this here. Should I ever show you this? Look at it." And you open the doors, and here's all the people. And my 4-year-old looked up at her like this and went, "Really? That's all you got?" And it was like, psh. So yeah, tech savvy back in the mid 1960s was different than tech savvy now.
Yeah. Children are not quite as easily impressed anymore, I have to say.
That's right.
I have to say that. My grandparents, my Italian grandparents, were the place I used to love to go the most. And, I have, an uncle that would be home that I really, really enjoyed his company. And it just, again, you think back to those simpler times. And now, from my perspective, not to get all sappy on everybody, but all my grandparents are gone. And both of my parents are gone. And my uncle's gone. They all died very young. Wow. And so I don't have any of those connections anymore. All I have, basically is my sister to share these memories with. That's why when she puts up a picture of a cardboard fireplace, it actually means so much. So, these are the traditions that we live by. And, you try to pass these on to your kids, right? You try to keep them going in the family, but it doesn't always catch the way it was.
Yeah, we try to do the Christmas tree thing with the kids like we did last night. We generally go earlier, and we've just been so busy. It's like the traditions get trounced. And so, we should have had our tree up at Thanksgiving, and we didn't. So we did it last night. And so we try to establish those traditions. But the old traditions, like you say, you've got most of your older family members are gone.
Yeah.
And in mine, it was my grandfather and my aunt, and, they're all gone. And, my mom's pushing 80 now. And things like that. And it's just not the same anymore. It's lost its, and if you can pick up, it's like trying to find the way to pick up the best way to continue your own traditions. So your kids enjoy it. And I have to keep remembering, I got kids. I got to build something for my kids here.
Yeah.
And my grandfather on my mom's side, he was my mom's stepdad. After World War II, my mom was born, but he married my mom's mother. And he was a Jewish man. And so my mom, my brother, and my sister and I, we were like the 4 goy in a family of Jews. And that's how I grew up. And the whole extended family was Jewish. But my grandfather was agnostic Jew, atheist probably. And he didn't care. He loved Christmas. And so we always had Christmas. He always built it up real big for us. So those are the kinds of traditions. But he wasn't one to sit down and read, and lo, the angels were in the sky and beheld and said, "Fear not, for I bring you good tidings of great joy." And my grandfather didn't read that stuff. So he was like, "Hey."
You know, I'm just trying to read through these chat comments.
Yeah, I saw a couple of interesting.
Reading through them. I'm starting to think that maybe this topic's getting a little sad.
Yeah, it might be. I'm talking away here, just trying to keep the topic going. And I'm thinking, well, I could get a little maudlin very quickly.
You know, another thing that we talked about on the radio show, Beyond Reality Radio, this week was dreams. Now, I know, Scotty, that you do tarot card readings.
I do.
Did you say you did palms? You did something else too?
I don't do palms. No, I just pretty much do tarot
I thought
readings.
you did something else at one point. No, just tarot?
I was told Chip Coffey once told me, Scotty, you got to lose the cards, just go straight. And I'm just like, you know what? I just don't do that. It's not my thing.
Well, have you ever okay, so hold on. Can you see the chat room, Scotty? Are you logged?
I'm seeing it right now.
Are you logged into chat so you can comment?
I am logged in over there. Here, I think I'm in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, that's where most of the action is.
There you go. So I'm there. I'm watching it go by.
Oh, there you go. I need to make you a moderator so you stand out.
All right.
Anyway, what was I about to say?
Power.
Oh, dreams. Have you ever done any dream analysis or interpretation?
I have not officially. It was one of those things where I used to have to pick up a book and start looking at it and say, okay, what does this thing really mean? And that's interesting. That came up in my own chat room on my own show earlier tonight about somebody was talking to me on the side about dreams and what the holding of hands meant in a dream and things like that. So, hey, Nicole, Wicket 34, how you doing? How you doing?
Yeah. We had Cindy McGill on the program this week, and she was talking about dream analysis and interpretation, and she's convinced that dreams and the messages we receive in dreams are divinely inspired.
It's hard to say. It really is. I've had dreams that were pretty heavy-duty dreams. You and I once talked on your show about visions. I've had visions, which I'm not prone to that stuff. I'm not like one that goes, hey, I have visions. It's not a thing that I do. And so it surprised me as much as anybody else. But I've had some pretty telling dreams. I've had contacts from people through dreams that have passed on. Not to get into the maudlin again, but some of my own relatives, my aunt who passed on, contacted me in a dream. I'm in the dream, and as funny as it may be, it was a holiday setting, like Thanksgiving or Christmas. Now you come from New York, so you get as white and snowy up there as we get here in Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
And do you know what it looks like when it's like the big spread and feast is done, everything's still spread all over the table, and the light coming in from outside the windows because of the snow, the sun has gone down, so it's like blue light that comes in through the windows and from reflecting off the snow. And so it was that kind of setting, and I heard the phone ringing, and I couldn't find the phone. And we had this old bungalow with wood floors and all kinds of wood all around, a big wooden archway, and it was behind the archway, behind a chair in the living room in the dream. And so I reached down, I pick it up, it's not plugged in, and it was my aunt was on the phone who had recently passed away. And she said, hey, this is Andy, your aunt. And she said, I think I'm dead. Yeah, I'm dead. She said it just like that. She goes, I died, but I just called to let you know I'm okay. And I love you. Bye. And I woke up. I mean, it was bizarre. Just boom, like that.
So, do you believe that that dreams like that are in a spiritual contact in some fashion, or are they a manufacture from our subconscious?
I think it can be a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. I think, and that's why it's so hard to decipher sometimes. What am I making up? What is my mind making up for me? What are subconscious coping mechanisms that are used to deal with the affairs of daily life and the stuff we go through in life? What's the subconscious do when it takes over? Versus, how do you tell what's a real contact? What's real information, like in vision form, that's being given to you? How do you process those things? I'm a big Jung fan, Carl Jung. And, with he and the tarot and all the psychology of the things that the mind does to kinetically rearrange affairs in life, dreams, cards, things like that. So, basic answers, I don't know. There's no way to really tell. And that's what's frustrating about it. I hate to be one of those guys that just jumps on the bandwagon and goes, hey, I had a dream and it was a contact. Or it was from the gods or God or whoever, when, how do you know? How do you know that?
Right.
And so I always say, I don't want to guess. I don't want to be taught. I don't want to believe in things. I want to know things. So if there's a way to find out those things, that's what I'm after.
Mr. Bojangles in our chat room says we dream in symbols, and those symbols only have meaning to us as individuals, and the rest is ESP. Interesting perspective.
That is very interesting. And, I think we all know a little too much to say we can discard the idea as being false. We know how the mind works, but we also know there's a lot of extra stuff out there besides our minds.
For sure.
And so
let's jump back to the phone lines. Blindly answering a call. Who's there? You're on. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on.
Hello.
Who do we have?
Hi, John.
John. Hey, John. How are you?
Hey, John.
I'm pretty good. You were talking about family traditions and stuff like that.
Yep.
My grandmother's side of the family, my mom, we have, instead of Santa Claus coming down, we had a mixture of both Scandinavian and Christian tradition. In the feast, I can't talk right now. Swedish.
Swedish.
And instead of, from Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of Santa Claus coming down the chimney, it's these little, not trolls, but elves called Tumta. Or Tumten, depending on where you're from, I guess. Will deliver the presents with a sleigh. Instead of reindeer, it's goats. Yuletide goats.
Okay.
And they leave the presents and stuff for you.
The goats and Santa and the elf things all leave the presents?
Well, instead of Santa coming down and delivering the presents, it's the elves that deliver the presents. Okay.
And this is Swedish in origin? It's from Sweden?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Or Scandinavian.
Yeah, Scandinavian, yeah. So is it Santa to the Scandinavians, or is it Saint Nicholas?
I think it's Saint Nick.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% sure. And my grandparents always left. They had a chimney at their house, and they always left some not cool, but the ashes from the fire, and made it look like
like their footprints.
Came
yeah.
in or put presents around and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, when my kids were small, thanks for sharing that story, John. When my kids were small, I used to do the same thing. I used to make little tracks out of the fireplace and make it look like Santa had a bit of a difficult time getting through and knocking things over and whatever else.
Just made footprints along the wooden floor for our little kids with powder, talcum powder.
Nice.
Once, and it looked like snow. But then we thought this looks really cool, and the kids got up and they go, where'd Santa get into the powder, and why was he barefoot? So, It didn't really flop.
You did it.
But
You
it
did
was
it like he was barefoot. You actually
yeah,
had
yeah.
toes. And,
We did it with the barefoot.
oh my God! Hey, John, once again, thanks for calling in and sharing this story. Well, Scotty, I mean, come on, think that one through a little bit. I mean,
yeah. Well, you're thinking that they're little kids. They're not going to click into this.
they're 3 steps ahead of you. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I think the excuse we used was, "We'll see. Santa's courteous. He takes off his boots at the door." So
what's more? What do you think is more difficult to believe? Actually, I probably shouldn't even go down this road. Now that I think,
were you
going
to say Jesus or Santa?
No, I wasn't going to do that. No,
Oh,
that would be
okay.
way too far down that road. I was going to say what was more difficult to believe: Bigfoot, alien, ghost, or Santa.
Well, Santa's real, so we can take that one off the list. But Bigfoot now and
I wrote a song called Paranormal Christmas, and that was kind of the premise of it. It's about a boy who calls the quote-unquote radio show and says he's having a tough time. It's Christmas Eve. He's having a tough time because he doesn't believe in Santa. So Jason and I marshal up Bigfoot, an alien, and a ghost, and one by one take them to Timmy's house, and each one sings a chorus of, I know it's hard to believe in me, but see, I'm real, so therefore you can believe in Santa. And then the last one to walk through is Santa.
you got Jason to sing that?
Well, he speaks his part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but I wrote it, and he did a couple lines in it. But yeah, he's not quite the vocalist. But either way, it's a cute little story that I thought was an interesting comparison between things that we sometimes find difficult to believe. So anyway, I got off on a tangent there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah.
We were talking about dreams. I've actually written some music through dreams and some comedy through dreams. I've woken up with some great comedy routines that came to me during a dream.
I have to step away for just a second, Jim.
Oh, okay.
JV, I'm going to let you take that. I'll be back in like 10 seconds.
Okay, something going down in the Roberts household. It's going down, and it's going down big time. Anyway, if you want to call and share a story with us, we'd love to have you do that. We're only going to be on for another half hour or so tonight. Just wanted to do a quick Booze, Brews, and Bros episode program since both Scotty and I were available tonight. But the phone number is 607-282-4497. I have to be very careful I don't give out my cell phone number. I've done that many times, and then my phone starts blowing up. 607-282-4497 is the telephone number if you want to call in and share a story. Are you back at the helm, Scotty?
I am.
All right. This beer's making me a little burpy.
It can do that.
Another thing I wanted to talk about is the Mothman, because we had a guest on last night. Do you know Lon Strickler?
Yes.
Okay, he was on the show last night. He's done a lot of investigation of winged humanoid creatures that have been sighted, particularly in the Chicago area, which I find interesting. But kind of starting with the Mothman story, but then it has expanded to things like the Chernobyl sightings, the Fukushima sightings, the Chicago sightings, and in other locations. But I've always been fascinated, Scotty, by the Mothman story. It's one of my favorites.
I don't know as much about that. I've never really pursued knowing a lot of the details about the Mothman story. Coincidentally, though, for this conversation, we were driving back with the family, my wife and kids, from my daughter's wedding in South Carolina, back up to Minnesota, and we were going through, where is it? It's West Virginia, right?
Point Pleasant, West Virginia, yep.
And I look up, we cross a river and a bridge, and I'm looking around, I'm going, and I was thinking it's reminiscent of, hey, this is like the bridge in the Mothman prophecies. And lo and behold, we're pulling right through Point Pleasant. And
wow.
We couldn't stop. It was late in the afternoon. And or evening by that time. The sun was still up, but it was evening. And so we drove right through. But I got to see the bridge anyway, the new bridge.
The new bridge, of course, because the Silver Bridge collapsed December 15th, 1967, after a year of these Mothman sightings. A lot of people believe that the Mothman was the harbinger of doom, basically.
I have heard that.
That's one of the theories.
than other flighted characters that are like that. What I've heard, I know so much superficial information about this stuff, but that was also connected. They thought when you see these things, it's connected to some kind of pending disaster, harbingers of doom and things like that.
Yeah, and then so as I'm talking with Lon about this last night, he brought up the Chernobyl sightings and then the Fukushima sightings, and apparently the Chernobyl sightings predated the disaster. So again, you could say, all right, well, there's another bit of evidence that these are messengers of disaster. But then the Fukushima sightings apparently came. The sightings themselves didn't come afterward, but people saying they saw the creature came after the disaster, which makes it a little bit harder to accept as fact. When the reports come after the fact.
Right.
So that's a little more difficult. But I don't know. I think that story is amazing. Not only is the Mothman story interesting in itself, but there was so much other activity that was going on simultaneous in the same area to the Mothman. There were Men in Black sightings. There was a reporter who was covering the Mothman story in the local Point Pleasant newspaper who was visited by beings that were trying to appear human but just weren't acting human. Her contention is they were some type of alien creatures dressed up like humans. And what's the guy's name? Woody Derenberger? Does that name mean anything to you?
I don't know. Nope.
He's one of these people who claims to have had direct contact and continual contact with extraterrestrials during that time, and he lived very close to Point Pleasant. And he had a whole bunch of stories to tell based on his communication and his visitations with these alien creatures. So, and a pretty interesting time all in a matter of 2 years in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
It was, I had to look it up a little bit, and I got a couple of details in front of me, but this folklorist, Jan Harold Brunvand, talks about Mothman, widely covered in the popular press, some claiming sightings connected with UFOs. They've seen them at military storage sites, which was kind of the Mothman's home. And all of these accounts and all kinds of UFO sightings connected with it, paranormal stuff connected with it. So it's very interesting stuff. Now, I saw the movie, The Mothman Prophecies, years ago, the Richard Gere movie. Didn't do anything for me. It seemed like a little bit, the movie seemed disjointed to me. And it seemed like it was more chalking it up to psychology and psychosis and things like that. But if I remember the movie correctly.
Yeah, the movie is not it's not a documentary by any means, and it's loosely based on the Mothman stories, and there's a lot of artistic license taken.
Yes.
But it did put the Mothman story on the radar for a lot of people. So if it did any good, it did that. But I saw a documentary. I'm trying to remember who made it now. I interviewed the guy. It was one of the first interviews I did about these topics. And it was called, the documentary itself was called Eyes of the Mothman. It's a really good one. It's long, but it's very in depth. And Philip in our chat room mentioned the name Ingrid Cold. That was, I can't remember. I think, wasn't that the name of the alien? Didn't he identify himself, Philip, as Ingrid Cold? Or I have to remember.
I don't know enough about it, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'm asking Philip here because I don't remember the detail. I remember the name, but I think the alien who was communicating with Woody Derenberger was named Ingrid Cold. I think that was the name he went by. Anyway, I hope that's what we're. Hope I'm right there, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I've looked into that stuff. I'm on a beer and a half here, and I'm feeling like I'm already like.
It's already affecting you. It's because it's been a long week.
It has been a long week. Gosh, super long. I had to shave this week. I couldn't handle it anymore.
I did too.
I was going to grow a beard. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, just let it go. Look a little bushy for a while. I just couldn't do it.
Just started up by accident again. I went about 5 or 6 days in a row, and I looked in the mirror and said, I haven't shaved for like 5 or 6 days. So I just left it. So we'll see where it goes.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at our Facebook feed here because it looked like it froze, but it looks like it's okay again. So hopefully everything's good there. Let's see. What do we have going on in chat here? Looks like Alf. What? Oh, listen. Hello, Doug. Okay. Well, good to see everybody there. If you want to call in and join the conversation, 607-282-4497. So go ahead.
Somebody, Philip Blair over in the YouTube chat room just brought up he started watching Hellier. And I think we may have mentioned that last time I was on. And, but that was a series that was done by, why am I, see, I've only had one. Boy, I'm sounding very articulate. I know.
Yeah. What are you doing there?
Who is it? Dana and Greg Newkirk.
Yes.
And not Aaron Pfeiffer. Carl Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
Man, whoo! I had to muscle through those names just now. But they put out the show Hellier about some other stuff in that region, West Virginia into Kentucky, about the elementals. And that is an engrossing documentary style series if you ever want to watch that. So somebody just mentioned that.
And that's on Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. That's also where you can find Jeff Belanger's series,
yes.
New England. What is it called? New England Legend and Lore or something like that?
Something like that. I saw a couple of episodes. He and Matt Moniz, I think, is part of that.
Yeah, and he was on the program this week as well. We've kind of made it a tradition annually to talk about Krampus and other Christmas legend and lore. What do you think of the Krampus story? First of all, it really didn't come on into my world until Hollywood got a hold of it and made a movie about it, and then everybody took an interest in it. And it's really a fascinating story, and it really opened the door for a lot of these other legends that have not necessarily disappeared, but certainly haven't made the mainstream in American culture.
Right. I heard about Krampus is newer for me too. I mean, I did not know anything about Krampus when I was a young man. And it wasn't until really, in the last 10 years, I started hearing about Krampus. And it's an interesting story. And I think I think we ought to do the whole Krampus thing as traditions with our kids. That might be a great tradition to set up. Now, yes, it's got a little negativity to it.
A little negativity. He comes in.
Goat,
he comes
half
in.
Demon.
Half goat, half demon. He comes in. If you've been a naughty child, he puts you in a burlap sack. He hauls you off to his lair and he eats you. That's
for
pretty
misbehaving.
Harsh. That's pretty harsh.
Yes.
But the funny thing is these types of traditions, or not traditions, these types of legends and Christmas quote unquote characters are actually more the norm than the exception. They're more the rule than the exception. The Belsnickel is another one of these, except for he doesn't eat you; he just whips you with a switch.
Nice.
Yeah, but there's so many of these quote unquote Santa's helpers who take care of the bad kids. Another one is Black Pete. Have you ever heard of Black Pete?
I have.
Don't
Pete. Know anything about him.
Well, I happen to know a little more about him than I should, just because my son is going to grad school in Holland, and it's a Dutch tradition. Black Pete is, and maybe it's more than just Holland, but I know in Holland they still celebrate Black Pete's arrival to the community, kind of like Santa Claus. It's actually not Santa Claus; it's Saint Nicholas for them. Saint Nicholas comes, and Black Pete comes with him. Black Pete handles all the bad children, and Saint Nicholas takes care of all the good children.
I suppose that's one way of looking at it. I know they do say the Krampus, there are anthropologists that say the Krampus goes back to pre-Christian era.
Well,
and so you're talking way back.
Jeff was talking about linking Krampus to Pan.
There are some similarities, obviously physical similarities. I suppose that could be, because he's got this, his physical characteristics, this brown or black scraggly hair, the Pan type of legs and hooves and horns of a goat and long pointed tongue and all of that stuff. And he has fangs. So that's a little different from Pan. Pan was a little happier than that. But Krampus is like the unhappy version.
Now, have you ever heard of the Christmas or the holiday armadillo?
No, I have not.
Then you're not a Friends fan then.
Oh, if you're talking Friends, vague remembrance of that. But I thought you were talking about a real tradition.
Yeah, no, I was just making a joke. Ross wanted to get a Santa suit, but there were last minute, and there were no Santa suits available, so he took whatever he could get, and he got an armadillo. Outfit, and he was the holiday armadillo. It's kind of funny.
The holiday armadillo. Yeah, that's good. You can start your own traditions.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Why the hell not?
So other things like Krampus. There's the witch. I can't remember the witch's name in Italy. And the witch flies around on a broom, delivering presents to kids. It's like not Barbarossa. It's something like that.
I have no idea.
I have to look at that. Scooter says, don't one of the Scandinavian countries put out their shoes on the 5th of December for someone to fill with candy? I think that might be the Black Pete. Yeah, it might be the Black Pete thing. Yeah. It might be. So, yeah, because Black Pete comes to town on December 5th. See, that's the thing. One of the things that we don't celebrate, but most of Europe does, is that December 6th is St. Nicholas Day in the Catholic tradition.
Okay.
That's where St. Nicholas comes from. I thought you were going to, I was just starting this figuring you were going to take it away, Scotty.
Oh, no.
You've got your hands in this more than I do. But so December 6th is St. Nicholas Day. So December 5th is the day that all these nefarious creatures, Krampus, Der Belschnickel, Black Pete.
Der Belschnickel.
They all come to town. Name. They all come to town that day, and they basically do house cleaning and get rid of all the naughty children, so that when St. Nicholas shows up on the 6th, it's just the good children left.
You know, that is an interesting tradition. I wonder if it just started the way just about anything else does. You know, if you don't go to bed and go to sleep,
right,
Krampus is going to come and get you. You know.
Well, I think first of all, it must have been horrifying to be a child under those circumstances. But secondly, I think it was probably a little more practical than that. It was not if you don't go to bed and go to sleep, Krampus is going to get you. It was more of if you don't get up at 4 in the morning and do your chores every morning.
Yeah.
You know, and milk the cow and feed the pigs, or you know, whatever they had to do to survive, then they were on Krampus's list.
Yeah. You know, that's a little terrifying for a kid. I couldn't imagine. You know, my own 5-year-old girl is obsessed with Krampus right now.
Oh, really?
She wants to see
what is going on over there.
Guinness is doing that.
Your Guinnesses are exploding.
Tonight. They're like foaming up on me. I don't know what's that all about tonight. Hang on, I'm trying to not make a huge mess over here.
Scotty,
there's always something when I'm on with you. I knock things over, or you know.
That's the nature of this program. Again, this is viewing the paranormal through beer goggles.
Yes.
By the way, thanks.
There we go. There's the nice cascade for you, right there. Look at that.
Let me get you there on close up so everybody can see that.
She's a real beauty.
Thanks to everybody for joining this program. This is very casual. This is not like Beyond Reality Radio. This is very casual, very unscripted, unrehearsed, and unprofessional, as you can tell.
Unregarded.
But it's a program for you. I mean, if you want to talk about anything, just give us a call. I've posted the phone number in our chat room a few times. It's 607-282-4497. I know I say it quickly because I say it a lot. Let me do it again slowly. 607-282-4497.
Wicca 34 says it's a ghost.
What's
not
a ghost?
Cascade.
Oh, what? That's a ghost. When you pour that?
Cascading.
Is that what they call it?
Yeah,
it's a ghost.
God, look at me. I look like I've been drinking all night. I haven't been. Like I say,
I feel the
older
thing.
you get.
I think we ought to make Philip. I like that idea. I like the idea of having a party and making drinks with these names. You know, the Krampus, Der Belschnickel drink. Black Pete drink. Whatever.
I kind of like that. It's already going through my mind. You know, what could be a drink that looks brown and hairy and, has goat's feet? That would be interesting.
Keep talking for a second because I'm gonna grab a video here I want to show.
I would think any Krampus drink would probably have to have Jägermeister in it. Would be my guess. Yeah, Steph, I do. I got the Santa face going. All of a sudden, I'm all. You're just joking, Wicca? I didn't even see what you said. So it's all right. Joke away. Yeah, a good Krampus drink would be probably have to start with a Jägermeister. And, has anybody ever tried like a Jägermeister mixed with like a black scotch?
That sounds kind of gross. Do you think that sounds good? Because I'm actually a Jägermeister fan. I'm one of the few people that actually likes it.
I'm not a big Jäg fan. It's been years since I've had Jäg. But my wife has some like Jäg cough drops. I'm like, oh, I remember those. I remember that now. But I would think there's a scotch that we found, a very obscure little Speyside scotch called Loch Dew, which in Gaelic is black water. And or is it black rose? Black water. And I wonder what that concoction
is. That what?
Like.
Oh, black water, keep on rolling, Mississippi moon. Yeah. I'm going to play a video right now. You can see the stream feed, right, Scotty? From your okay. So you're going to see this video. This is a video of Saint Nicholas arriving to a Dutch community with his black Pete's with him. It's a tradition that this is a big deal every year. My son this is the town he's living in right now, and he videoed it, and I think it's kind of comical, so I'm going to play it.
All right.
Yeah.
Now you can see all the black Pete's. They're all dressed in fancy clothes and blackface. It's all blackface.
Oh, wow. So politically incorrect.
Look at them all.
Santa's doing his king of the world thing. Bow of the boat. And this is where?
This is in the middle of Holland. Where my son is going to school. So,
right.
Yeah. So he said that to me, and I just got such a kick out of it for a couple of reasons. First of all, I love the fact that this is a tradition, and they are proud of their traditions. I also know that it would never fly here. It would be, people would be, I mean, can you imagine the headlines?
Oh, everybody's offended about everything.
Everybody's
even surrounding Christmas. So.
Everybody's offended by everything. And yes. I get it all, but whatever. I just think whatever. I mean, nobody there is trying to be malicious that I can tell. Anyway, so what else? What else do we want to talk about tonight?
I was thinking of that, and we can stay Christmassy themed, or we can go off into some other things. It's hard for me. I do so much serious radio that it's hard to break off into just comics sometimes. Now, I do a show with Rocky Stucci, and we get pretty bawdy and stuff, but it's like trying to find a topic where we can talk about it. And you notice, even talking about, hey, what are your happy Christmas traditions? Well, after my grandfather died, it was, and so we tend to get maudlin with some of these topics. But I think we could break into, everybody here likes the paranormal. And so, very possibly lapsing into talking about some paranormal things. And it doesn't have to be related to the holidays.
No, absolutely not. No, it doesn't have to be.
But
no.
I think
I've got a topic. I've got a topic for us.
Okay.
Because I have been thoroughly disappointed for now at least a season and a half, if not 2.5 seasons, of The Curse of Oak Island.
Oh, yeah.
Do you watch that?
I was watching it. I watched it up until the last season, so I haven't seen any of this season yet. I liked that show because, and the producers are good on that because they're always tantalizing you with something.
Right, but it's also the boy who cried. But it's also the boy who cried wolf.
That's it.
Syndrome as well.
Yes.
When they build it up, and then it turns out to be nothing. You can only take that so many times before.
I don't like that kind of TV where it builds me up and it's playing me to keep me watching the show. And then the reveal is, well, you knew that before you started playing me. I'm not interested anymore.
Right. And and they'll do a thing where they'll take a quote, like, a clip of somebody saying something like, oh my God, I can't believe we found it. And and then when they show that,
like,
and they make you think it's something spectacular, and then in context, they found his other shoe because he couldn't.
JoJo's lost clipboard.
yeah, whatever. Right?
You know,
exactly.
But my God!
But I love the mystery of the Oak Island story. And when I was in, I think it was 7th grade, our science teacher back in those days, it was what mimeographs or whatever that copy process was, where you took the paper and you smelled it afterwards.
The purpley ink. Yeah.
So he had copied an article about the Oak Island mystery, and I think it's the same article that Rick and Marty Lagina from the show read as young boys from Reader's Digest. And this was many years later. But anyway, my science teacher distributes this and it has some diagrams in it. And he said, can anybody figure out how to get this treasure? And, we spent a couple of our classes during that week talking about ideas on how to get to the treasure with, and avoid the booby traps and all that stuff. So from that point on, as a kid, I was fascinated by this story. So when the show, Curse of Oak Island, came on television, it was something that I had long waited for, not even knowing it would ever show up, but I was really excited about it. And the first few seasons, they made some real progress, and they did some really cool things.
They did,
and they were if nothing else, they were checking things off the list. But it seems like for the last couple, they've kind of been spinning their wheels, and it almost makes you think now they're just doing it for a TV show, because
they can. It's been successful. They've had good viewers. I have to believe, though, the brothers think there's something more to be found. I don't think that they're convinced there's nothing there.
Can I tell you that I disagree with that? And here's why.
Really?
Well, here's why. And we're going to go to the phone line here in just a second. I noticed that there was a real change in Rick Lagina's demeanor last season.
Yes, I do recall thinking the same thing.
At first, I thought he was sick. At first, I thought this man is ill. But he's I haven't heard anything about him being ill, and he's still on the show, and he doesn't look like he's getting sicker. But his attitude and his demeanor's changed. I almost get the impression that he's resigned himself to thinking there's no treasure there. And now it's just a TV show. And that seems to be the change in his attitude to me. Let's jump to the phone lines here. Who's on with us?
Hey, JV, it's Joe from Iowa.
Hey, Iowa Joe. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. How you guys doing?
Great.
Joe.
We don't get the pleasure of seeing you in chat very often anymore.
Work schedule, man. Work schedule.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. Boss decided to change hours on me, so I'm not on. About the time you guys are starting the show is when I'm on the road home.
Well, I'm glad you can join us tonight. What's on your mind?
Well, you're talking about Oak Island, and that's one of the shows that I've been watching on TV, and I'm starting to agree with you, JV. It's getting to be more of a TV show than it is an actual search. And I do believe there might be something on there, but I don't believe it's what they're hoping it is.
Well, I think your assessment is very valid, and as far as something being there, there's a couple options. Either A, there was never anything there. B, there was something there and it was recovered a long time ago. Or C, it's there and they're going to find it. Those are the only three options, right, Scotty? I can't think of another one.
That's it. And that's the thing. If there's something there, there's got to be a point where they realize they've milked it enough. If there's nothing to be found. But now somebody told me, I have not seen anything this season yet, but I thought somebody told me there was a real, like a big reveal at the beginning of this season.
Joe, have you been watching this season?
Yeah, I've been following it pretty good. I know when they did their initial teaser trailer for what's going to happen throughout the season, they kind of laid out that they were going to they were finding this, and they found the tunnel, and they found all this stuff. But as the episodes are going on and on, they're not showing any of that.
Yep.
So I don't know if it's really they've found anything more than what they're showing in the episodes, or it's kind of like the movies anymore, where they throw out that preview to you, and man, that preview looks great. Then you go to the movie and you just wasted $12.
Right.
You're absolutely right, Joe. The I'm trying to remember. It must have been either the teaser into the season or even in the beginning of the show for this season. They did a big thing about what they were going to find. And it seemed like they make some real amazing discoveries when they show that trailer. And then how many episodes are we in? 6 episodes into this new season?
Haven't seen them yet?
Something like that.
Like
something
halfway. And they really haven't found anything other than they think they may have found one of the former searcher tunnels.
Well, and I know that's what they've been hoping for, because supposedly these searcher tunnels are, led right up to the money pit.
Right.
But, like, my dad watches it too, so we have discussions on this a lot. And he kind of believes, like you, that if there was something there, somebody's already dug it up and has collected it. But like I said, I feel there's something there. But anyway, how many years have they been searching on this island? Hundreds of years. Since when did they say the initial find was? 1795 or something like that, where the 3 guys found it by following some mystical lights or whatever.
Right.
And, how many different machines have been on there, steam-powered machines, to now the diesel-powered machines have destroyed everything.
Yep.
So what they're looking for may not be what they're actually needing, because of the shift of the dirts and the shifting of the different areas because of all the excavation. It could be there. They're just in completely wrong spots according to what the research they've got.
Well, that's a great point, and that really is this glimmer of hope in this whole thing, is that they just haven't been in the right spot because they're using old hand-drawn, references, and the topography is so different from when it was even, 100 years ago, let alone 200 years ago. And what they need to do is get some real reference points to be able to find the original money pit. And then maybe if they dig there, they will find something for real. And that's what this searcher tunnel is supposed to do. The searcher tunnel is supposed to be 100 feet away from the money pit. And using that information and some other information, they should be able to, triangulate where the original money pit was. And then once they have that, maybe in fact they will have some success. I guess that is the glimmer of hope remaining in the season.
Yeah, and back to your point of where now it seems like more of a TV show, I've felt like that ever since they started the show, the Curse of Confederate Gold, because I think that's just pretty much the same thing. They're hoping to find something, but they're more after that TV money than they are after looking for what they're wanting. Because I've got into the Curse of Confederate Gold just because it sounds like a good story, but they're doing the same thing. Oh, we'll find a coin here, we'll find some old nails here, or we'll find this, and they're not finding anything more than what Oak Island's doing.
I have to be very careful. I can't say much about this because I signed my life away on it. But I just went down and filmed a couple of episodes, 3 or 4 episodes of a new series that's coming out that I can't say anything about, what the topic is or anything. I was a talking head dealing with the main people on the show. And it's another one of these types of mysterious shows. And that's all I can say about it. It's going to come out, I think, in February with its initial 8-show run. But I got that feeling doing the same thing there, was that, and I was even talking to the guys who are the hosts of the show. And even they're saying, we don't know how much there is here to find, but we're going to do our best to delve the depths, explore the different tales and stuff like that. And so it'll be interesting. But I think that's one thing I noticed about a lot of these types of TV shows is it's not so much the finding of something, it's the searching for something. And it's like I used to love Finding Bigfoot. And the reason I loved that show was not because they weren't, they were in hopes of finding Bigfoot. It was the fact that they were looking into all these different old cases and old photos and old videos. And they would take one of those for a topic in each show and then a region that they were in. And I really enjoyed that show. And I saw a little thing with the producer, and he said, well, it's really not about finding Bigfoot. He says, it's about looking for Bigfoot. And that's what keeps the show going. So it was interesting. So
Well, it's
all those
definitely
shows
a
are like
drama thing. I mean, you just sit there and watch the episodes of Oak Island, and Gary Drayton will be out with his metal detector, and oh wow, this is a great find, and then commercial.
Right.
I know, and they come back and it's a spike, and it could be any spike. And,
Yeah.
And one of the things that's bothered me in this last episode, this last week, Gary was out metal detecting on the beach, and he found a couple of spikes, and he was talking about how this proves there was a wharf there. And I'm thinking to myself, what's to say that some wharf somewhere 300 miles away got damaged in a storm, and a piece of wood that held a spike in it drifted on the water, on the ocean, until it landed on that beach and rotted, and that's why the spike is there.
I've said the same thing about that cross that they found a couple seasons ago. That one that they supposedly claim is a Templar cross.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do we know that wasn't part of somebody's necklace? A searcher's necklace.
Exactly. Hold on one second. They hung up. Okay.
Philip Blair over in the chat room in YouTube. Great idea for a new show, Finding Jimmy Hoffa.
Well, hey, Joe, thank you so much for calling in and commenting on this. It's a show that I still really enjoy, but I'm getting a little frustrated with. After watching this last episode, toward the end, once again they were showing previews for what's coming up next week, which seemed pretty exciting. So I guess we'll see what happens next week, right?
Have to see
we'll see what happens. It was great talking to you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Hey, Joe. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, whoever was trying to get through before I got to the phone late, you can call in now. It's tough when we've got somebody on the line to try to answer one of the other calls, but the lines are open right now. So, anyway, so what do you think, Scotty? Something there or not? Something on Oak Island or not, as it stands right now?
If it's there, it's obviously proving itself to be almost impossible to locate. If there's anything in there. It may have been removed a long time ago. I still think they don't know exactly what it would be if they found it. They're talking about Templar treasure.
They're talking about possibly religious relics.
Religious relics. I read a fantastic book.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Let's go back to the phone lines. Who's there?
Hey, it's Dwayne from chat.
Dwayne, how are you, my friend?
How you doing, Dwayne?
I'm doing all right. I know y'all are talking about everything from Oak Island, all that stuff. There is a very popular and crazy conspiracy theory that there is the lost treasure of Jean Lafitte.
Yeah.
Here in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And it all starts with I forget the name of the bar, but there's a bar with a picture of Jean Lafitte, and his eyes are starting the whole, National Treasure kind of thing, where his eyes are pointing in the direction you need to start looking. And people over the years have tried to find the treasure of Jean Lafitte.
I think that would be a kind of a cool find. He's a very cool character in Louisiana history. So,
what's the story? Where's the treasure supposed to be?
Nobody knows.
Oh, there's no.
The eyes are supposed to point to one thing, and then you find another clue. And like I said, kind of National Treasury, Nicolas Cage-ish, the whole thing.
Interesting.
But I mean, to go from being a Buccaneer to being a national, well, I wouldn't say national hero, but a local hero, is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Hey, I'll go on any treasure hunt. I've always been fascinated by that. I'd love to go out and try to solve a mystery or a puzzle like that and find something. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything too exciting. I just love to solve the mystery,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody from the time they were, children, and Goonies kind of fed on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Find this thing, and then you keep going on, and you lead to this grand adventure where you take care of all your problems at the end.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, Dwayne, thanks for sharing that one with us too. We appreciate it. All right, we're getting pretty close to winding this one down, Scotty.
Oh wow, look at that!
I mean, we've almost got 2 hours under our belt here.
Wow, that's pretty.
And I've been suffering from a cold all week, and suddenly just now, in the last hour and a half, suddenly my sinuses have decided to drain, and I'm
let's do that right now.
and I'm having trouble talking because it's draining right into the back of my throat.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, thought I'd share.
I always
that with
hate that. You get a little, your voice gets all clogged up. I hate that.
Do you remember? I don't know when it was, maybe mid-'70s, when some guy went to a garage sale and bought a picture, some kind of artwork, and took it home and opened up the frame and found an original copy of the Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, and it was authenticated as well.
Yeah, it was legit. It was legit. And there were only like 50 some of them made then. And, it's worth a significant amount of money. I remember when that happened, and it stuck with me because I always wanted to be one of the people that stumbled upon one of those things like that.
Yes. And then you see, I see all kinds of stuff like that historical documents and things like, I'm not a regular viewer of this show, but the Pawn Show, Pawn Stars.
Yeah, I was thinking
they're
the same
always
thing.
having guys bringing in documents and going, "Oh, will you give me $300 for that?" And that thing's like priceless if it's real.
Yeah.
And it's like, can you find the meth head in this picture? But so I was going to say at the beginning, there's this great book I read on Captain Kidd. And one of the theories about Oak Island is that it was the treasures of Captain Kidd that were buried there. Notorious pirate, but if you read this book, it's by Richard Zacks. It's called The Pirate Hunter. And it's a biography of Captain Kidd and how he went from piracy to he married up in life. And he had a house on Wall Street, what is now today Wall Street. It was still Wall Street back then, the late 1600s. And he was hired by a group of investors and given a writ of to be a privateer by the King of England, and to raid, I think it was Spanish ships or some kind of ships along the coast in over around Africa, around to Madagascar and so on, for the king. And he was a privateer, so he was a legal pirate. You could only attack his enemy. You could only attack the enemies. And he got pretty railroaded at the end. And eventually, when he showed back up in Boston and that area, they wanted to know where his treasure was. And he says, I got that pretty stashed away. And he says, I want to get this legal stuff cleared up, because they started accusing him of being a pirate. And of course, they eventually hung him. And there you could tell that there were powerful men behind his execution and his railroading, because he went to court. And you see the court transcripts. They were handwritten, but they're in the book. And they say, how do you plead? And he says, I will not plead until I get to see my papers. I need my papers to build my case. And he'd been sitting in a cold prison all winter. And they never give him his papers. And our system of jurisprudence was based on the fact that old system of jurisprudence was you're guilty until you can prove yourself innocent.
Right.
They took him out and hung him. Now, what was the rules back then? If you hung somebody, what happened if the rope broke? That was supposed to be providence from God,
right?
And they would set you free. Well, his rope broke, and they strung him up a second time instead.
Jeez.
And the rope broke a second time.
Oh, wow.
And they finally strung him up the third time, and that did it. But so he was pretty railroaded. But one of the theories of Oak Island is that was where he stashed his treasure in the late 1600s.
Wow. Stuff is fascinating. I mean, it really, really is got this, you know, it's adventure, it's mystery, it's puzzles. It's just pretty cool. Excuse me, I'm just replying to some comments here in chat.
Oh, that's all right. And, another series that I like to watch, and it's a little different than all of these treasure hunting shows, but if you remember Tony Robinson, he was, if you ever watched, folks, did any of you out there ever watch the Blackadder series? 20 years ago that came out. It was with Rowan Atkinson, and Tony Robinson was Baldric, his servant, and it went back into medieval times and all the way up to modern times, the same two characters. And Tony Robinson, for the last 20 plus years, though, did a series in Great Britain called Time Team, and they were archaeologists, and they went and they dug up. They did their shtick was, we got 3 days to uncover this thing, and they would go in and they would uncover Roman villas and things like that, all scattered things all around England. So if you ever want to watch a fascinating show, it's just a show recommendation from me. Fascinating show. It's if you like that kind of, my kids hate it. They see, oh, Dad's got his archaeology show on again. But I love that stuff, and it's great history, and you learn a lot, and you see a lot of the kind of real side of this treasure hunting that is more in the archaeological, anthropological category. So if you've never seen that, Field Guy says he's watched it. Yeah, then. Yeah, archaeology, I like it as well. And so, those are the kinds of shows I like. I was once also involved in the filming of a proposed TV series. It was on giants, finding giants. And this is, God, it had to be about 6 years ago. And I went down, they flew us down to Texas, down to the red fields. What is it? What's the era? Not Jurassic, but before that, the whatever, the Mesoplastic, the Spastic era, whatever it was. And it's that you can see it from satellite pictures of Texas, big red swath that comes through. And it was from primordial floods and things like that, and all these skeletal remains. And I had us down there digging paleontology. I think they just used it as a great backdrop. But we were supposed to be a team that was looking for giants. And that's, again, one of the...
Don't go to the Meadowlands. Yeah. Don't go to the Meadowlands if you're looking for giants, because you're not going to find any.
Oh, not going to find them.
If you know anything about the NFL, you know the Giants are horrible.
Yes, I do. So, anyway, that was another series I was involved with, but it never went anywhere. It never got past the proposal stage.
All right, well, what do you, I finished my second beer. I don't know if I should open another one.
I haven't finished. I have not kept up with last time.
Wow, you're not even close to last time. You were 4 or 5 in by now last time.
Well, it was a premiere episode. Yeah. So we had to make it good.
Yeah. And we did.
I could sit and slam down 6 more of these tonight, but
you could.
Not in 15 minutes.
Let's see. I'm just trying to catch up on chat here. We do owe everybody a song. I know that.
Oh boy, a song.
Should we have one more and then do our song to close it?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, I'm going to grab one here.
We can do that. Have you got a song in your head yet?
Not yet.
All right. So, we could do I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, but I don't want to do that one. We could do I'm not a big fan of the rocking around the Christmas tree type of songs. And those just don't do it for me. It's like cheap Christmas songs to me. Christmas song, you got to have some meaning there, even if it's not overtly religious and so on. You got to have meaning. You can go like I'm rocking around the Christmas tree. It's a happy holiday. And it's like, so what? It's like, shut up. I just want to go #shut up.
Well, whatever we decide to play, it's going to have to be something that I can actually play.
What can you play for Christmas?
I don't know. The Face song isn't a Christmas song, Wrenchy.
Which one?
The Face song.
Oh, the Face song, yeah.
I don't know. Did you get another beer? Are you drinking there?
I'm drinking. Cheers.
I don't know.
You want to do a deeply traditional Silent Nighty cattler lowing the poor baby weeps song type of song?
It's just got to be something without a lot of chords.
Without a lot of chords. C, G, and D. C, G, and F. Let's see. There's a lot of them that you can play almost any song with 3 chords.
I'll have a blue Christmas without you.
And that's all I know.
I'll be so blue. Just thinking about you. Decorations
so
round a green Christmas tree. Won't be the same, dear, if you're not here
with me.
And when those blue snowflakes start falling, and when those blue memories start calling, you'll be doing all right with your Christmas away. But
I'm trying to harmonize. It's not working.
Blue Christmas. There you go.
Wow, that was just amazing. We're going on tour now, starting next week.
I'm waiting for the YouTube or the Facebook stream to shut down because of copyright violation.
Oh yeah, copyright laws.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, or when it goes to post, it'll come back on YouTube and say, "We've noticed that you've used a copyrighted song in your YouTube video."
Yeah.
So. I just want you to know I've gotten around that a couple of times, so I'm thumbing my nose at YouTube right now. So, over the hills and far away from Zeppelin.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no.
It's
can't do that one.
It's I don't know. I can play it on bass. I've played it in my band before.
I can do Christmas songs on my guitar, but yeah, I'm not tuned up or nothing.
You're not tuned up?
No. It's all acoustical stuff. Is that acoustical you got there? You hooked up through your soundboard?
This is an acoustic guitar.
Okay.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You may think there's no such thing as Santa, but as for me and Grandpa, we believe. That's all I know. I'm sorry.
I don't know any of that even.
You don't know Grandma got run over by a reindeer?
I've probably heard it. It's probably one of those songs I go, I don't like that song.
It's one of those really annoying songs.
It's an annoying Christmas song.
Let me see if I can do this. I can't really do this. And talk for a second, Scotty. Talk for a second.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I could talk for a second here. We'll let Jimmy figure out what he's doing over there, what kind of song he wants to do. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to Christmas music. I like the Silent Nights, and I like when I was a youth pastor years and years ago. Used to listen to a singer-songwriter named Michael Card, and he came out with his Christmas album, a very I would call it almost intellectual Christmas songs. And he came out with some good stuff back then. Joseph singing about what is he supposed to think at this point? When he finds out his betrothed is pregnant with the who? Son of God? I'm sorry, who? Where you been? And but it was a good song, really good stuff. I like that kind of stuff. So
all right, nice fill.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to try this. Who was it that where was it? Somebody requested this one. I don't see it in there. I know it's there though. Oh, there it is. Philip. Okay, Philip. And so this is hold on. So this is Christmas.
So this is Christmas.
And what have we done? Another year older. A new one just begun. A merry, merry Christmas. A happy New Year.
New Year.
Let's hope it's a... sorry. That's all I can do.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
See,
I do
it gets
the same
complicated
thing
from there. So this is Christmas, and what have we done? Another year older, new one just begun. Merry, Merry Christmas. That's it. That's all I'm going to do.
Yeah. I like the can't really do it on the guitar, that You know who I really like listening to? I love Nat King Cole.
Oh yeah,
I love some of his old songs, and he did the. Did he do "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," or was there another one he did that was like that?
Well, his real popular one was "Chestnuts Roasting
Yeah.
on an Open Fire."
Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir. I'm probably in the wrong key for you.
Yeah, no, that song is a really complicated.
Yeah,
song.
it is, because there's all kinds of minor chords.
Yeah, I don't do those songs. They're too complicated.
And I liked. You gotta sing it a little bit. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let the Yuletide gay. That's the line that always got me. Soon, oh soon, our troubles will be miles away.
Yeah, nice.
Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore. Faithful friends who are near to us will be dear to us, will be near to us once more. Through the years we all will be together, if the saints allow. Hang a shining star upon a highest bough, and have yourself a merry little Christmas now. Of course, I'm not fully invested in that now, but
that's beautiful.
There you go. You do stuff like that. And hard to play that one to the guitar too.
Yeah, all those. I mean, they're really complicated structurally. That's why I do things like, what's that? Here comes Santa Claus, here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. He's got a bag that's full of toys for boys and girls again. Sleigh bells ringing, jingle jangle, everything in the night. And cover up your head, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Those are easy.
What was the one? It was a Burl Ives one. I always used to like it. Or was it a Bing Crosby? Bing Crosby, Burl Ives. What did Bing Crosby always do? He always did. There was one Christmas song.
I loved
City.
Well, there's Silver. He did like "Do You Hear What I Hear?" and
City Sidewalks, Busy Sidewalks. What's that one?
That's Silver Bells.
City Sidewalks.
That's Silver Bells.
Busy Sidewalks. Give me a key you would play that.
I don't know. I have no idea. I guess it's
dressed in holiday style. In the air, there's a feeling of Christmas. Children laughing, people passing, spreading smile after smile. And on every street corner, you hear Silver Bells. I had to get that far into it to get the title.
Scotty, I said Silver Bells 8 times.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
See what happens when you don't listen? Silver bells. I'm in a different key now. It's Christmas time.
It's all right. Keys are irrelevant.
City.
Who's on the phone with us?
Who's on?
It's me again.
Hey, John.
It's me again.
Hello, John.
Hey, John.
Yeah, John. A couple weeks ago, you were talking about cemeteries in Tampa area. And they actually found a new one just a couple days ago. They're going to dig it up and analyze the bodies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The story I was talking about was there was an apartment complex, right, that was built over an old burial ground that they didn't realize, and they did a penetrating grounds radar or whatever they do to determine what's subsurface, and they found like 100 graves.
Wow.
Yeah, this one is in Tampa area, and it's something like 2.5 acres, something like 100 graves or something like that, and so I guess going to dig it all up and have a archaeological dig.
Yeah, well, they should for sure. Yeah.
You know, I was in North Carolina. What the hell? Lincolnton, North Carolina, outside of Charlotte. And there was an old cemetery I went to with my daughter last year and my son. And It's in the middle of a big residential, like a cul-de-sac residential area. And there's a little wooded area out there with the tall pine trees. And it ended up, there was a sign there. It was the old, what they called, it's even on the sign, the Negro Cemetery. That was filled with former slaves, filled with, I think, not Native American, Black Americans up until the mid 1940s. And there's no grave markers. There's only a few of them. They were just marked by stones because they were poor, and some of them were slaves and former slaves. And they're just almost piled on top of each other with just little limestone headstones, just rocks.
Crazy, yeah.
That marked it. So very interesting.
And an interesting thing, there's a stretch of road between Orlando and Sanford here in Florida on the East Coast that was actually settled in the early part of the 1800s by settlers, Puritans, or whatever. They got buried there, and about 60, 70 years later, they bought, the state bought the property, built a road on it, and it has the highest mortality rate.
Oh, geez.
Out of the whole country. And people are saying that they see apparitions, women on the side of the road, heavy fog, and I tend to stay away from it because I'm too young to die.
Yeah, right. You don't want to get yourself in that mess. Thanks again for calling, John. Thanks for sharing that with us. Always, I mean, anytime you start talking about stuff like that, building on or over or near or through cemeteries, graveyards. I remember when the hospital, and again, the town that I grew up, Oneonta, it was expanding. And in order to expand, they had to relocate a cemetery. And I watched them as they dug up many of these graves. And the regulations in moving a cemetery, you have to take the earth around the grave, you know, in addition to the vault that the casket's in. It's quite a process, and they ended up moving that.
Wow, that's what a task to think of that, to move a cemetery.
Yeah.
You know, this is something I like about that show I was talking about in Great Britain, where they're uncovering, you know, like Iron Age and Bronze Age graves and cemeteries and Roman era cemeteries and things like that. Just amazing stuff when you watch it. What you playing over there? Blackbird singing over there. Nice. Blackbird singing in the dead of night.
It's a beautiful song. Have we overstayed our welcome here yet, Scotty? Are you drinking your beer or what?
Well, I got a great one. By the way, this is from Bing Crosby. Not a Christmas song necessarily, but I sing it for my kids at Christmas. I remember the mares eat oats and does eat oats and little lambs eat ivy. A kid'll eat ivy too, wouldn't you? Whales eat eels and snails eat eels and little clams eat oysters. A squid'll eat oysters too, wouldn't you? And then I forget the other part. So
you must know Mulligan Tire.
Oh, I do and I don't. Mulligan Tire. That's a song you sing when you're drinking.
Mulligan Tire. I don't know any of the words.
There it is. You know what we used to do? We used to sing a lot of Irish, like "Stand Up for the Irish," you know, type of songs at the Irish pub. At the pub. And there were a lot of those, like the you know, they'd get up and they'd do their set. That was the IRA set. And they'd sing, you know, like, armored cars and tanks and guns came to take away our sons, but every man must stand behind the man behind the wire. You know, and they'd sing songs like that. And and all these IRA songs. Hey, you ever hear of the Irish boomerang?
I have no idea what that is. No.
You throw it out and it sings sad songs about coming home again.
How about this one? Come, they told me ba rum bum bum bum.
I am a poor boy too.
See ba rum bum bum
Bum bum.
It's too low. The problem when we do it together is there's a bit of a delay.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, that kind of bites.
Yeah. It's just a hair of a delay. It makes it a little hard.
Oh, we can't sing together.
Not that way. We'll have to do a public appearance where we sing songs together.
We should. We could do something. We could work something up.
Absolutely.
Get our guitars out and do our thing.
Absolutely. Irish folk music. The only song I know is Wallach and Tyre, and that's not even Irish.
And that one, I'd like to learn that one. That's a great one. Oh, what's the one I hadn't? What's the one that Rod Stewart?
My mull of Kintyre. When I was a lassie, I don't know. I have no idea.
What was one I was thinking of that you might know? What's the one that Rod Stewart did, and he made it very famous?
Like a Christmas song or a...
No, it wasn't a Christmas song. It was about Grace.
I don't know, but this caller might know. Caller, do you know which song we're talking about?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't calling about a song.
Oh, okay. What's on your mind then?
I didn't want to change. I was calling about an oddity experience that I had with spirits in my house.
Oh, let's hear about it. I want to hear about this.
Okay, I've never heard anything like this. I moved to my house about 9 years ago, and the girl I was dating was fascinated with watching ghost hunters and what, and we just EVP sessions in graveyards and whatnot, and got some stuff. But anyway, I found out that there's a spirit. It's in my house. His name is Robert. But shortly after I moved in there, my wife and I had separated for about a year, and the divorce was final. And we were having our final yard sale at our previous home, and I had a U-Haul backed up to my house, and I was taking stuff from my house to the yard sale. Okay, that I was going to sell. Well, I was loading up. I had a customer. I was selling cars. Had a customer call me, and I was talking to them. My ex-wife called on the home phone, and I couldn't get to it. And so the next day, we actually had the yard sale, and I was staying at her apartment while she went to work, and I was just listening to voicemails.
Okay.
And I had a voicemail that from this spirit, I swear, it said, Jeff, don't leave. He said, Jeff, don't leave. It was clear that they bailed. And I have never heard. The exact time was when my wife had called.
Hold on. First of all, is your name Jeff?
Yeah, my first name is Jeff.
Okay, so Jeff, you're saying that you had a message on, was it a voicemail or on an answering machine?
No, it was a voicemail on my phone.
Voicemail on your phone, and it said it was a whispery kind of haunting voice.
Yes, haunting voice saying, Jeff, don't leave.
Said, Jeff, don't leave.
Interesting.
Now, I heard it. I played it for my ex-wife. She said, turn that junk off. My ex-wife heard it. My mother has heard it. And the girl I was with at the same time, I played it for all of them.
Do you know anyone that would have known enough about this to have played a prank on you?
No, because I said I was on my cell phone.
Yeah.
My wife called on the home phone.
Right.
But the timeline of when I got this message was the exact same time that I was on the phone. That's it. I know the guy's name is Robert. Can't find out nothing about why he's there. don't bother nothing, don't bother nobody. But
Wow.
I've never heard of any incident
So wait,
where a spirit leaves a voicemail.
Are you absolutely?
Or anything like that.
Are you absolutely certain that the voice, the spirit voice that you heard on your voicemail was Robert?
Well, he didn't specify his name at the time.
But that's the assumption you're making, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's obviously a pretty good assumption to go with. So whatever happened to Robert? Is Robert still around?
Yeah, he's still there. Yeah. I mean, I've done EVP sessions with him. I've got recordings of him.
Have you had any more messages from Robert in any fashion, whether it's voicemail or something else?
No, electronically. I mean, I said I do an EVP session. The clearest one I've got is me and my stepsister. We were just doing one at the house, and it come across. I said, "Robert, are you here? Or where are you at?" And it says, "I'm over here." It said it like that. It's that clear. I've never heard an EVP session as clear as that one was.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I had a girl I was dating. Her son was autistic. And the first time he walked into my house, never knew anything about it. As soon as he walked in the house, I said, "This house is haunted. There's something here."
Really?
And I'm like, wow. And I asked, they actually moved in with him at one point, and I said, he said, "They talked to me." I said, "Well, what did he say? Why are they here?" He said, "Looking for treasure." I'm like, okay, fine. 6 months later, I did an EVP session. I asked the same question to this Robert, and it said treasure that he was looking for. I mean, it's just so many weird. It's cool as heck. I mean, I love it. I mean, I love this old stuff, but like I said, it don't bother nobody. It's just.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
That's pretty cool. And I have to tell you, Jeff, I've got to tell you, there are certain phenomena that make the hair on my arms and back and neck and everywhere else stand up straight. And one of the things that does that to me is this idea of spirit communication through a device like a phone. You know, Scotty, you know that Twilight Zone episode where the grandmother,
the old lady,
the grandmother dies and calls the grandson and actually is trying to convince him to kill himself so he can join her on the other side?
Yes.
That haunts me. I know it's a television program. I know it's the Twilight Zone. I know it's whatever. But that concept, and Jeff just intimated one of those stories to us, that concept just sent shivers down my spine.
There was the other old Twilight Zone episode from the 60s with the old woman who kept getting the phone calls from either her son or somebody who had died, a male voice.
Oh, yeah, I remember that too.
They find the phone line had been gone
cut
down and into the grave.
Well, that's right. The phone had fallen into the...
Yeah,
something.
The phone line came down and it fell onto his grave.
That's right. The phone line above had been severed or something, got destroyed and fell, and it was on his grave. That's right.
That one made a really deep impression on me too.
Right. Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for sharing that story with us. That's a great one, and we appreciate hearing it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Have a great night.
All right, you too. Merry Christmas to you. Those. I mean, I like, not much haunts me, but that haunts me.
Yes. Now, this, when I drink, I was part of a historical group, and we reenacted the Highland Scots of the 1750s in the French and Indian War. We were up at Fort Ticonderoga up in your neck of the woods, kind of, and did a lot of that kind of reenacting, the British redcoats with the black watch kilts and the muskets and all of that. That's where that sword on the back wall behind me is from. But, we used to get all these guys around, these big burly guys that were reenacting battles and things like that, and sword fighting, and we'd get around the campfires at night, still all in period clothing, and we would drink, and that's when we'd break out all the sea shanties and the Scottish songs and the Irish songs, and the one that I was referencing a little bit. That's what happens when you drink and you sing. That's what it's for. We'd sing songs like, The Parting Glass, and things like that. And all of these different kinds of songs. But Rod Stewart put out a song, and it's called Grace. And there's such a story to it. It's the song tells about the 1916 Easter uprising in Ireland. and it was Joseph Plunkett and Grace Gifford. He was convicted and he was going to be executed, and he married his school girlfriend, Grace Gifford, back in 1916, and they were married, and then 15 minutes later he was executed.
Wow.
And she never remarried her entire life, and she lived till she was like 70, up into the 1970s, something like that. And there was a song. That's the song I was thinking of, because somebody asked in the chat room, Grace, and just the chorus. I'll just hit this only because we're drinking.
Do it.
And he says, it talks about the wedding. They're gathering in the jailhouse. It was Kilmainham Jail. And the chorus says, "Oh, Grace, just hold me in your arms and let this moment linger. They'll take me out at dawn and I will die. With all my love, I place this wedding ring upon you." I forgot, I lost the melody. "Place this wedding ring upon your finger. There won't be time to share our love, for we must say goodbye." And this goes on, where he says to her, "Now the dawn is breaking, and my heart is breaking too. On this May morn, as I walk out, my thoughts will be of you. And I'll write some words upon the wall, so everyone will know I've loved so much that I could see his blood upon the rose." And I don't know all the melody, but this is this great song. And Rod Stewart was actually, it was the who was it? It was the BBC that stopped him from singing it because it's considered to be an anti-English song. Now, that was Rod Stewart's claim, that the BBC stopped him from singing this Irish ballad because of its anti-English overtones. And the song tells the story of Grace Gifford's marriage to Joseph Plunkett. And
wow.
So, it was just a neat little song. Now, of course, we're talking about Christmas songs tonight and all of that.
Well, we're talking about everything.
But I'll tell you, when I get to drinking, and when I'm with my buddies and we're drinking. I'm talking about drinking. And, we weren't born in Ireland or Scotland. I'm Welsh and Scot. But you know what happens when I start drinking? Because we're so immersed in this culture and Celtic heritage and all of this and all the reenacting we did, we'd get drunk, and the more drunk we'd get, the more our voices would start to go, pass me another point. And, they would all come out like that, and we'd sing these songs. So it was great times and great stuff. So
all right, I'm going to do
that's what we'll have to do. You and I will have to get together and do a bunch of Irish ballads.
For sure. I'm going to do the face song, at least a little bit of it, because it's been requested.
And no, Rod Stewart is not English. Somebody asked.
What is he?
He's Scot.
I've just seen a face, I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just the girl for me. I want all the world to see we met. La da 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 da. Had it been another day, I might have looked the other way, and I'd have never been aware. But as it is, I'll dream of her tonight. La da 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 da. Falling, yes, I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you. That's a Paul McCartney song. Well, it's a Beatles song, but Paul McCartney did it. And
just like Mulligan Tire.
The sad thing about it is that I am so out of practice. My voice is so out of shape. I've got this cold, and I sound like a dying cow in a field when I'm singing right now. That's what I'm hearing in my ears.
I haven't really sung for years. And the most singing we did was in the pubs and around the campfire, dressed it. We were out doing in Fort Ticonderoga. We were there with 1,200 reenactors, and I've got a great paranormal story for you from that event. But we were up there in 2001, and we were reenacting the Battle of Fort Ticonderoga. And this is where the British were fighting the French, and they won the fort. It was Fort Carillon from the French, and they took the fort and became Ticonderoga. And so we went up there with 1,200 reenactors, French,
oh wow,
Native American reenactors, British. We had this British line that was 800 soldiers.
Oh wow, that's cool.
2 lines deep, all different regiments, all redcoats. We were the kilted, we were the Black Watch, the 42nd Royal Highlanders. And it's interesting. We went out there, and we had, you're getting older when you start losing people, And on our drive out there, one of the guys in our group, his wife passed away of leukemia.
Oh man!
And so we stopped on the way and we did a toast. We broke open some scotch and did a toast. And when we got there, and it's all a big costumed event, and we're there with all these other people. We're setting up, putting up tents, doing campfires, historic row tents and military stuff. And we're all in our kilts and our red coats and all of this. And we're brought over by some of the other people to one of the cairns at the site there where the 42nd Highlanders put up a cairn on the site from the battle 250 years ago. And all the old ramparts are still there. The French stripped down the forests, and they built new barricades and walls when the British were advancing. And they built these the ditches and the hill trenches. And we walked on this out into the woods on still the old dirt rampart that's there. And the pine trees are like 75 feet tall all around us. And we're walking out there, and our bagpiper with our group played the Soldier's Prayer, and we're all standing and we're giving it a moment of silence. And we're there. It's about 10:30 at night. No lights, except we have a candlelit lantern. And we're out in the middle of the woods, and we're right on the corner where the fort walls used to be, where the 42nd Highlanders stormed the wall, and they did not retreat when the rest of the army retreated. And there were about 1,200 of them killed right on that field right there in the corner of that fort outside that rampart. And so nowadays, you can't even go out there. You can't stick a spoon in the dirt legally.
Wow.
Because it's considered sacred ground. And then there's a big red cross, a big replica about 20 feet tall. That is the cross that the French commander Montcalm put up back in the 1750s. And he buried all the Scots and all the French and all the British together in a common grave that's still there under the fields. And so here we are. We're standing on what's known as the Killing Fields. And the bagpiper played Amazing Grace. We offered up the Soldier's Prayer, and we stood in silence, and all around us. Now, I don't care what you think of this as being a natural event. You know what the will-o-wisp are.
Sure, yeah.
And here we are. We're standing in these dark woods at 10:30 at night. You could see, you know how you can see when there's no light, just from the ambient light from the sky, and we could still see hazy gray. And out in the killing fields where all these soldiers fell, all of a sudden, hundreds, if not 1,000, fireflies, the will-o-wisp, come rising up off the ground.
Wow.
And they flew over, hovered over, and surrounded us and started hovering around us. And we walked back out of the woods to that big red cross and stood there, and they all came and followed us and just hovered around us and the cross after we had played Amazing Grace and done the Soldier's Prayer and so on. And then they dissipated after that.
Wow, that's cool.
It was a pretty amazing experience.
That's really cool, yeah.
So,
wow. Well, we've gone about 45 minutes past when we were going to hang it up.
Well, we started late, so
that's true.
There you go.
We did. Oh man. What else? We got anything else to talk about? Anything else to sing about? Anything else to?
Do you know the Parting Glass?
I don't.
Parting Glass?
I don't.
You probably heard it. I know Sam Sheeran made that very popular again. We used to sing that at the end of every gathering that we had.
So. Really?
Yeah. Just just curious. I'm wondering if
once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby. Once there was a way to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry, and I will sing a lullaby.
Very nice.
That's such a pretty song, and that's Paul McCartney put music to an old English poem.
I could hear that. I could hear the Paul McCartney in it.
Yeah, and it's an old classic English poem or something. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The Parting Glass. And I don't have an instrument, and it's always doing a cappella is always a little rough, but you've heard this. We would always sing this. We sang it when we lost too many people, too many good people that were with us in that group, and our group of friends that had passed on. And of course, then every gathering we'd end it with this. And we sang, of all the money that e'er I had, I spent it in good company, and all the harm that e'er I'd done, at last it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be with you all. Of all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I had, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it fell unto my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call, good night, and joy be to you all.
Nice, very nice.
So that's what we used to sing at the end of things. So
there's something particularly haunting and stirring in those Celtic, I guess they're Celtic,
yes,
melodies.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them, and they were sad. It's like the joke about the Irish boomerang with the Irish, they sang sad songs about going home. That's what they did, and you know, if you ever want a more sad, pathos-filled retinue of songs, go to the Irish. So
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm kind of running out of steam here too. I was trying to think of a good song we could close it with.
What do you got?
I don't know.
See, this is what we didn't do. We didn't compare our notes, what we know, what we both know together.
I know.
So,
my stuff is mostly pop stuff, you know.
Yeah. My stuff's historic. I like Stan Rogers. Maybe you don't know any of his stuff.
I don't.
He was a folk singer from Canada.
Do you know any Merle Haggard?
Probably not. I know who Merle Haggard is.
Do you know Merle Haggard's Mama Tried?
No.
Oh, such a great song. How about Johnny Cash?
I know some Johnny Cash. You know what's interesting about all those songs? I could sing a line, and that's it.
Yeah. How about Eagles?
Some Eagles, yeah.
How about I was actually what was the song I was working on the other day? I thought this would be a cool song to play. Oh, it's a Turtles or Zombies. Zombies. Oh, what's the Zombies hit?
I could not tell you. You know, I'm a child of the 60s and the 70s with all the glorious music. I knew
Zombies were
Joe
from the
Walsh,
60s. Zombies were from the 60s. Zombies were from the 60s. What's the song?
What do you know of the Eagles?
I can do any of the Eagles hits. Probably.
I always liked
right, which one?
It was Joe Walsh, I think, not the Eagles. Wasn't it the My Maserati?
Yeah. That's Joe Walsh, yeah.
Yeah.
My Maserati does 185. I lost my license and now I can't drive. Yeah.
I ride a limo, I ride in the back. Boom, 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 boom. I lock the doors in case I'm attacked. Boom, boom, it isn't easy going all day. Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
About all I know.
Yeah, Time of the Season. That's the one. Thank you, Philip. That's the zombie song I was talking about. Yeah, that's too hard. You were going to come up with the Eagles song?
We'll have to get something worked up.
Yeah, I'm all worked up.
Yeah. I'm all worked up, buddy. Wait, that's not the song.
Okay, people, you guys have been way too patient.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, we're just kind of
staring at
around now.
staring at this into the cameras.
Yeah, look at us. Look at us keeping your attention rapidly.
You take the high road.
Oh yeah, I know that song really well. I used to sing that song to my kids every night at bedtime. You know that one, don't you? Loch Lomond.
Yeah, kind of.
I always played it in. They play it in D or G. On yon bonny banks and on yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond. You know that one?
I kind of know the melody.
Me and my true love were ever one to gay, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond.
It's in C, I think you're doing.
Was there that we parted in yon shady glen. Did I get into your key?
You were.
Sweet, sweet sight up in Lomond, where in purple view the Highland hills we view, and the moon coming out and the gloaming. Oh, you tack the high road, and I'll tack the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afar ye, but me and my true love will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. I sing it a lot higher. It's a higher pitch song for me.
I was just matching your key, so
let's see. So if I went up higher to where I normally sing it, I'd sing the last verse. The wee birdies sing and the wildflowers spring, while the sun on the water is sleeping, but the broken-hearted kens nae second spring again, and the way fools cease from their graving.
What key is that?
Oh, you tack the high road, and I'll tack the low road.
In G.
And I'll be in Scotland afar ye, but me and my true love will never meet again, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond.
Very nice.
Yeah. That brings back memories, man.
All right, Scotty, what do you think? We done enough damage?
I think we're long done.
Yeah, I think we've overstayed. That's the thing. In show business, you always want them leaving. You want to leave them wanting more.
Yes. You want to buy tickets to the next show.
Anyway, it was a lot of fun. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight, everybody. Appreciate it. And I don't know how often we're going to be able to do this. We're going to do as much as we can for sure. And we may or may not be more prepared next time. I don't know. Sometimes just doing it by the seat of your pants is just as much fun, right?
Yeah. That was the best singing we did was when we were drinking and singing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, how many times have you and I... did you ever go to Phenomenology? Did you ever make it to Phenomenology?
Yeah. Years ago.
Yeah, well, it hasn't been... They haven't done it for years. But Phenomenology is a paranormal event. And we used to go every year. And one of the things I loved about that particular event is the people that the promoter invited, the celebrities. We all had, well, not all of us, but many of us had musical abilities and brought guitars. And at the end of every night, after the bar closed down, in the lobby of the hotel, we'd all be hanging out playing guitars and singing and, till 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 in the morning. And that makes that a pretty special event.
Oh,
so a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. In fact, there's nothing better than being with a group of friends, sitting around and drinking, breaking out the guitars.
That's right.
I used to have a little thing I do at my house.
We never did that at Convergence, did we? Did we ever break out? No, I don't think so.
No, we never did at Convergence. No. We did at the Paradigm Symposium. We did that all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I know. Yeah, right.
But I used to have a little event in my house every Thursday night, just from the Renaissance Festival people that I knew. And all the guys that played in the Irish bands and all the musicians would come over to my house. And here I was. I was a single dad of 3 kids and 2 teenage daughters, young teenage daughters, and a young son. And all my friends from the festival would come over. They'd stay most of the night. I'd cook breakfast for half of them in the morning, but those Irish bands would come over to the house. They'd be playing the borin, and we had fiddlers and playing the Irish whistle, and everybody would sing and do their thing, and we had our stuff. That's how my kids grew up.
And that's how I grew up. My dad was doing that all the time with his friends. They'd come over and drink and play guitars, and that's how I picked it up. I've got the perfect song to end the night with.
Do it.
If I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me?
No, it's not ringing any bells, Scotty?
It's not.
'Cause I must be traveling on now. So many places I've got to see. 'Cause I'm as free as a bird, Lord. And you've acting like it.
No, I figured you'd pick it up by now. It's Freebird. It's Freebird.
Is it Leonard Skinner?
Yeah, it's Freebird.
Oh, it's Freebird.
Yes, it was kind of a joke because it's like an anthem. It's like
I've heard that. Song.
Well, thank God. I can't stand it. It drives me nuts.
That's where I thought you were going, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I wasn't doing it well enough I wasn't doing it well enough for you to recognize it. That's scary.
No, it wasn't that. It was remembering the song altogether. So,
all right. Let's say goodnight to everybody.
Well, good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. It was fun. Fun for us. Hope it was as fun for you.
There's nothing like a great night of good radio broadcasting. And that was nothing like a night of good night of radio broadcasting.
That was nothing like a great night of radio broadcasting.
Anyway, hey, thanks everybody for tolerating that and having a great time with us. Have a Merry Christmas. And we look forward to doing this again with you. Tell your friends. Cheers.
Merry Christmas, everybody.